on our path to freedom, I can absolutely guarantee there is going to be challenges and tests along the way because we're here to grow. And for us to grow, we have to get outside of our old ways, and we have to be challenged. And there's chaotic times.
With no limitations, what does your perfect day look like? What if it's possible to live like that every day? Would you wake up after 9 a.m, have perfect health, maybe fire your boss, have the money and freedom to do what you love most? The world is your oyster. Where would you be? Who would you be with? The possibilities are endless. Whether you believe it's possible for you or not, you can make more, work less, and live free. Welcome to Freedom Hack Radio, where entrepreneur, best-selling author, world traveller and adventurer Bryce Robertson and special guests crack the code on money, health, relationships, spirituality and having fun doing what you love most. Be inspired to create your own self-designed freedom lifestyle.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Hack Radio, where you learn to work less, make more, and live free. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson, and before we dig in today, I want to take a quick moment to honor you all for choosing to tune in to Freedom Hack Radio, whether you're listening on the Freedom Hack Radio YouTube channel, or whether you're listening through iTunes or your favorite podcasting platform, or whether you're at freedomhackradio.com. I totally appreciate your time. Your time is your most precious and valuable asset. There is so many things you could be doing with your time right now. There's so many people you could be listening to and watching. And I really honor you for taking the time to tune in here. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. I'm not here to disappoint. I'm fully committed to providing massive value to you guys. And so you can self-design your own freedom lifestyle. I get to live a freedom lifestyle. I'm super excited about this, and I'm really excited to be able to share that with you guys as well, so that you can self-design and create your own freedom lifestyle and live free. Why? Because everybody deserves it, and you certainly deserve it. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to go back and listen to episodes 1 to 4 so you can catch up with who I am, why I'm qualified to be talking about living a freedom lifestyle, and listen as I lay down the foundation of what this podcast is really all about in our freedom principles. So, today, my friends, we are going to switch our energy. We're here to discuss freedom principle number 4, spirituality. And as you know, here at Freedom Hack Radio, the 5 core areas we need to work on to truly achieve freedom and fulfillment are financial wealth, health, spirituality, relationships, and having fun. And, you know, no matter where we are at any point, we're going to be stronger in some areas than others at any given time. And even in ourselves, that's going to ebb and flow. Maybe we're like really good at making money at one point, and then we're going to go shift some energy over because we've been lacking a little bit on our health. And then maybe we're going to shift our energy over because we haven't been spending enough time spirituality. And it can ebb and flow all through this with these 5 main areas. And in all authenticity, if I'm truly honest, spirituality is the area that I feel I have the most room to grow in, and that's really exciting. I'm really excited about this, and primarily, as you guys know, I created this podcast for you guys because I live a freedom lifestyle. I didn't used to live a freedom lifestyle. My life is so much better than what it used to be. I love my life. It's so exciting, and I wish this kind of life for all of you. But I can't tell you exactly how to live your freedom life because you got to listen along here at Freedom Hack Radio and design your own because yours is going to be your own version of a freedom lifestyle. Um, but secondarily, this podcast, it's also an opportunity, this is even from an egocentric standpoint, it's an opportunity for me to continue to grow in these 5 core areas of, financial wealth, relationships, health, spirituality, and having fun. And, I get to grow too. And this is an area that I feel that I'm going to gain a lot from growing. And I'm really excited about this journey. So first off, let's differentiate the difference between freedom. The difference between religion and spirituality. Um, Religion can save people and it can harness the greatness of life. But, it's also been known to kill people and pass blame and judgment. And I've got a bit of an analogy for something that I'd like to share with you from my perspective of how I see some of the negative sides of how people can infuse religion into that. Now, I'm not at all saying that like religion is bad or anything like that at all. I just see that there's some people that I don't believe harness the full spirituality side of religions, where they get a little bit too caught up in the religion side. Um, Now, I used to live in London for a little while, and when I lived in London, I lived very close to Chelsea Stadium, and I worked at a bar right near Chelsea Stadium. Now, for those of you who don't know what Chelsea Stadium is, it's a soccer or a football stadium, as they call it in the UK. And that's where people go to play soccer and football. And it's a very, very popular team, Chelsea, a very patriotic, a very proud fans. And so I used to work at this bar, and I would work on game day, and so the whole streets had shut down, and there'd be police officers on horseback, and they'd be kind of like keeping the people in order. And then there's just all these football fans cruising down the streets, somewhere in the colors of Chelsea, somewhere in the colors of the opposing team, and you could really feel the energy. And on those days, it was a cocktail bar that I worked at, and we usually served our drinks in like, nice glasses and glass cups. But on the football day, it was always like give it to them in plastic cups, because who knows how rowdy people could get. Now, um, what I saw there was such a passion for people with their own team over in England. I saw so much passion for people with their soccer team, that they not only were really, really, really passionate about their team and really prideful of their team, some of them would actually go as far as extending hate towards other teams. And that really didn't make sense to me, because, where I grew up, I watched rugby league, which is kind of the most similar sport you could say to rugby union. Or for American people, it's kind of like American football, but without all of the protective gear and everything like that. A little bit different, but I grew up watching that and playing that as well. And I enjoyed my team. And I used to have a bit of banter with people from other teams, and we'd give a bit of crap to each other, but it was all a laugh and a joke. But at the end of the day, I loved the sport, rugby league, and so I wasn't against anybody else's team. I always wanted my team to win. Bit of but if someone else's team won and they played a good game, then that's also like a good thing, because I like the game. Um, However, on the flip side, going back to my experience in London and watching some of these people, I remember one particular game day. And this was actually after the game. So this was after the game, and tensions were high. And I'm not exactly sure which team won that day, but obviously one team won and one team lost. And everybody was walking back from the stadium, and there was like police officers and stuff on horseback. And but it was interesting, because there was one team supporters of one team on one side of the street, and the team supporters of the other team on the other side of the street, and there was actually a big gap in the middle. And it was like this real like separation between this team and that team. One was a little happy and the other was a little like bummed out. And but interestingly, on the way there, like everybody was going down the street, and everybody was almost kind of like mixed together, having fun. But on the way back, tensions were high. And I remember seeing one family on the side of the road, on this side of the road, that had their one team jerseys on. They obviously went for one of the teams. And then a family on the other side with opposing jerseys on and whatnot. And they started yelling at each other. Now, when I say family, I'm talking like husband, wife, and children. male and female children, and they were yelling at each other. And then they started like yelling louder at each other. And then they actually met in the middle. And then they all literally started fighting each other. And they were like proper boxing on. I'm talking like the kids were in there and like the wife and the husband. And I was just blown away. Like they were fighting because they were like, hey, like they they had a hate because of the teams or something. And that concept just like blew my mind. And that's something that I have seen, that kind of thing, not necessarily physically fighting each other. Well, I suppose so. There is actually wars that revolve around religion, not spirituality. But I believe that we can all coexist with different religious, spiritual beliefs and still meet to love one another and embrace the awesomeness that life provides us. And so I want to make a bit of a delineation between religion and spirituality. Um, we are going to have different people from different religions coming on the show and things like that, and I'm not in any way excluding religion, but I think a way to look at this topic more holistically is to call it spirituality and come from the whole spiritual perspective, not to exclude anybody. And I believe that if we hate another person for having opposing beliefs, especially if they have opposing spiritual beliefs, then I believe that that's hypocritical to being deeply spiritual in the first place. So I just wanted to sort of make that delineation there. And on this podcast, we're going to be exploring spirituality, not necessarily religion, but spirituality. And we'll explore all possibilities so that we can view things from a different lens and different angles, and we can gain deeper meaning. And we're going to have different people we're going to have some people from different religions on the show, and other people that just generally talking about spirituality, and we're going to discuss many different topics and have a conversations that I truly feel that you'll gain from. And you know some people some people have certain associations, whether positive or negative, when you use certain words. For example, when I say the word God, some people could have a positive association with that, and some people could have a negative association with that based off whatever their experiences have been around that word and the meaning that they've given to it because of that. And so on this show, sometimes we're going to say God, sometimes we'll say the universe, and sometimes I'll use these words interchangeably. But just I want to sort of wrap our heads around the concept that the only meaning that exists is the meaning we give things. When I say God or the universe, they're just words. The only meaning that actually sits behind these words is the meaning that you give to it. And so I don't want to discriminate here. I know that we're listening, the people tuning in. This is kind of like could potentially be a touchy subject, because there are very passionate viewpoints towards, religion and spirituality. And I don't want to discriminate for anybody here or take anybody out of the game. I mean, the ultimate goal of all of this is so we can deepen our spirituality, and that's part of our 5 core principles, so that we can live a true freedom lifestyle, and so that we can live more free. So understand that that's the reasoning beneath all of this, why we're discussing this here at Freedom Hack Radio. And to not discriminate or take anybody out of the game, I'm going to use the word God and universe interchangeably sometimes. And so when I just know that when I'm referring to those words, I'm referring to the omnipresent, omnipotent source of life, energy, everything that ever was, is, and ever will be. And you can, join the dots and give the associated meaning that you want to give to that. Um, and doing that in a positive way, so that you can gain what you can gain out of here from these spiritual discussions. So I'll let you join the dots just to understand the concept of what I'm talking about when I say those words, and you know what it means to you. Sometimes if I say God, you can interpret that and go, yeah, universe, I get it. Or maybe vice versa. I truly believe that, spirituality is a lifelong journey, and for each of us. And if we think we've got it nailed, and it's kind of contradictory, and I believe that we're coming from the wrong place. Like, for an example of like, hey man, like I'm so spiritually, like I'm so deep spiritually, I got spirituality dialed, man. I'm like, I don't believe that that's really true enlightenment. It's I think we're coming from the wrong place. So it's an opportunity for us to grow spiritually, and it's a journey. And you know, for me and my experience, the more I deepen my spirituality, the better life feels. Um, and that's just a really basic, easy way for me to explain things. Like, literally, the more that I deepen my spirituality, the better that life feels, the better that the experience of life is for me. Um, and, we all have the opportunity to deepen our spirituality, and become more enlightened along the way. And I believe that the more that we deepen our spirituality, the more that we become grounded, the more that we can become the calm eye of the storm. And I think that's really, really powerful on our path to freedom, because on our path to freedom, I can absolutely guarantee there is going to be challenges and tests along the way, because we're here to grow. And for us to grow, we have to get outside of our old ways, and we have to be challenged. And there's chaotic times. For example, like, think about recent times and like times right now, kind of chaotic. Um, there's the whole like concept of the virus, and people have been staying at home, and people have been losing jobs. It's like chaos. I believe that the more we are spiritually grounded, the more that we can be calm and make wise decisions in chaos, and not get caught in all of the madness, because we're grounded spiritually. So it's I truly believe it's a really important piece of us on our path to freedom and creating our own freedom lifestyle, and very important part of our lives. So to give you a little bit of background on me spiritually, I didn't really have any spiritual guidance or any major spiritual influence growing up. It was almost non-existent. Those discussions just weren't really there, and I just didn't have that kind of influence. However, I heard about it. I heard other people talking about it, and I heard people talking about it passionately, from a lot of different angles. And as I grew up, especially in my 30s, I really started exploring this topic of spirituality. Like, what does it really mean? Like, what is this thing all about? Like, people are enlightened, people are connected to God, people are connected to the universe. Like, what does this mean? So, I started going to different churches. I started reading books, and obviously I read the Bible, and I started at the same time also on like health journey and spiritual journey. I started with yoga, and I started meditating, and then I started visualizing, and I learned about manifesting and vision boards, and actually, vision boards, for those of you who don't know what a vision board is, it's kind of like you get all of the goals or all of the things that you want in your life, and then you get a physical representation or an image of it, and then you put it all together in like a collage on a board, and then you put it up there in a place that you can see almost every day. And then it's kind of like it's the opportunity to manifest it. And interestingly, and I've made a handful of different vision boards at different areas of my path, um, of freedom, and it's mind-boggling how accurately the things that I've put on vision boards have played out and come to fruition. It's mind-boggling, and I'm actually at another point where I'm ready to create another vision board, because the last two vision boards I created, I've nailed like 98% of everything on there, and I've had those experiences, and now it's time to think bigger, and it's time to have bigger vision, and really go for it. And that's super excited. And I also was introduced to affirmations, and and also prayer as well, and doing that in different ways, and hearing how that happens from people in different religions and what it means to them. And it kind of seems like that it means the same thing, and it's done in relatively the same way, and it's the same kind of energy. And I learned about the concept of connecting to God and the universe and divine guidance. And it's like, wow, this is like really mind-boggling stuff. And I truly believe that we can be guided spiritually, and that we can tap into this guidance once we learn how to. And that alone really takes a lot of pressure off. Just knowing that we're not alone, and um, that we can be guided, and we can tap into that omnipresent energy. And so, to me, that's really freaking exciting. And it's been a very fulfilling journey for me so far. And I'm super excited to deepen my spirituality and continue this journey on my path towards enlightenment, and continue this journey with you as you deepen your spirituality on your path to enlightenment. And this is a journey. And I'm really excited for you to join me on this, and grow with me, and we all grow together. And, I created this podcast for you guys so that you can live a freedom lifestyle. But I would be absolutely kidding myself if I said that I didn't have room to grow in all of these areas myself. The only time that I'll have that there won't be any more room to grow in these areas is when I'm dead. Like, I will always be able to grow in all of these areas. I will always be able to create better health. I will always be able to create more financial wealth. I will always be able to deepen my spirituality, have more fun, um, and deepen relationships and better health. And it's like, so we're on this path together. And this is me speaking in these first few episodes here, but as I've been saying, I'm super excited because from episode 7 onwards, we're going to have special guests who are going to add massive color to these topics. And we're going to talk in all of these areas of freedom, and we're going to really, really dig deep here and have some super, super high level conversations. And I'm really excited about that. And just before we wrap it up here, there is one book that I did want to mention. And this has been a book that, for me, has had a lot of impact from a spiritual perspective, and from like deepening my calm eye of the storm part of me. And it's called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And he has taken, again, like I say this with quite a few of the books that I rate really highly. And I rate this so highly that it would be in like the top 2 books that I would recommend, period. And I just think it's really an amazing book. And interestingly, there's some books that you discuss with other people, and when you mention them, they're just like, yeah, man, that's like one of my favorite books. And everybody kind of reacts to this book the same way. And so basically, one of the biggest things that I've got from this is that to learn to be a witness when chaos is going on around us, and then sort of observe things from a witness standpoint, instead of being like really drawn into them. Like for me in the past, especially like someone that I really, really cared about, if they're coming to me and they're like being like angry, and they're being like really upset, or like they're really bothered about something, like I get really, really drawn into that, and I'd actually become even reactive to it, and it wasn't healthy. And so this book, and the principles in this book, has allowed me to grow a lot in this area of becoming a more grounded person, and to be a calmer person, because I've learned that the things that are going on are just they're moments that happen in time, and we can witness them, and then we can choose how to decide what to do once we have the information. But we don't necessarily have to get caught up in all of the energy, especially the negative energies, and especially the chaos. And right now, with everything that's been going on, and everything that could be going on right now, I think this is a very appropriate book, and it's not too thick. Um, it's an easy read. It's very peaceful, and it's very well explained. And I think it's also intellectual as well. And so I find this to be a very enjoyable book, and I highly recommend it. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. So, that's it, guys. This is the beginning of a very exciting journey together. Make sure to join me for the last episode of these freedom principles. Join me next week for that. And, then after that, we're going to bring in our industry leaders and experts in their field as we explore all the possibilities of freedom and living a freedom lifestyle. And you can play along and design it's self-designed your own freedom lifestyle, and that's super, super exciting. And I'm really excited for you guys to do that. And remember, the more you interact with Freedom Hack Radio, the more you comment, the more you provide feedback, the more you'll get out of it. And so be big, think big, be brave, play all out. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on iTunes or your favorite platform, leave a review, tell your friends about it, come along. Like the more interaction, the more you guys interact here, it really, really does matter, because the more people we can help live a freedom lifestyle, and I'm truly, truly committed to that. So it's been a pleasure to share this experience with you today. Thanks for listening. Until next week, I'm your host, Bryce Robertson. Live large and live free.